Good day, everyone. This is Angel Michael. I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Today I am going to do something that I haven't really done before. This is not something that I normally do, and it's really something that it's not as familiar to me as to other people. There's a lot of people on YouTube that are given visions, but I'd like to talk about a vision that I had. Today's topic is America's idols. They will fall. And I had a vision back in 2004 when I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina. I was in my apartment and I was reading from different passages in the Old Testament, in Isaiah and Jeremiah and in Chronicles. And one passage in particular was talking about the Asherah poles. And while I was reading that, all of a sudden I started seeing this tall pole. If you think about a totem pole, if you know what a totem pole looks like. The top of it had a head, looked like a dragon, and this head had like fire belching from it. But there wasn't anybody around. It was on this tall hill, and this pole was just falling to the ground. It was real interesting, and I never understood at the time what this was talking about, this in this vision, until recently. It started to make sense to me. In my spirit, I just felt the Lord was telling me that this represented not only just myself. At the time, I thought He was just talking just to me, that I had idols in my life that I need to get rid of, but it was more to it than that. I think He was telling me that America has many idols, and that He is going to destroy those idols very soon. The image you're seeing above is a picture I found on the internet. A very ornate carved head. I think it's off of a ship, a Viking ship or something. But it's very similar to what I saw. It was wood. And I put it in Photoshop and I darkened it so it would look darker, because it was supposed to be like a night scene in my vision. And I added the fire with Photoshop also. Above is a small idol of Asherah. She is known by several different names. In Greek and Phoenicia, she was a fertility goddess. She was called Astarte. And of course, in Canaan or in Israel, she was called Ashtaroth. In Babylon, she was also the fertility goddess. She was known as Ishtar. And that's actually, when it's translated into English, it's more like Easter. Of course, the Anglo-Saxon word was Astarte. Ishtar, Babylonian. Like I said, Ashtaroth is the Hebrew name, and Astarte is the Greek. So she had many different names. She was also called the Queen of Heaven. The book of Jeremiah talks about the Queen of Heaven. And all that goes back to ancient Babylon with Semiramis, who was the mother of Nimrod. All these are pagan deities that go back to Nimrod and Samarius, who were basically worshippers of Lucifer. And well, all of these gods and goddesses are basically come from the worship of King Nimrod and his mother Samarius, and their child called Tammuz. They were actually, Samarius was Nimrod's mother, so they had an incestuous relationship and had a child from that relationship. So they were very evil and ungodly people who, like I said, worshiped Lucifer. And they were the first people. Nimrod was the first emperor who basically conquered, at the time, the known world and created the first New World Order. That's what we would call it today, because his whole plan was to take over, was to build a tower to go to heaven and basically kill God and take over. So that was the whole story the whole issue with the entire Bible. It was arrogance and pride, thinking that they had the ability to defeat God and create their own world in their own image. Now, in this picture are some of the high places in Israel where these Asherah poles were. And what went on there was basically they would worship Nimrod, Asheroth, or whatever name they chose. And they part of the worship was having sex with the different priests, male and female priests, depending on what particular time of the year. And they would also sacrifice babies to the god and goddesses. And Baal was the accompanying male god, so they would also do sacrifices and worship Baal. So these terrible things were going on in Israel in these high places, and that's the reason why God was angry with them, because they murdered their own children, thinking that they would please the god Baal or Asheroth, who is the goddess, the accompaniment of Baal. Okay, now in these photographs above, on the left-hand side is an Asherah type pole, but they probably had a different name, an Egyptian name for Asherah. And then on the right-hand side is from the Middle East, from the Canaanite or Israelite region. And here's one of the poles being Asherah poles being cut down by an Israelite. They're made of wood, so he's chopping it down like you would chop down a tree. And then this next picture are much larger poles, and see, they're chopping them down in this picture as well. And then in this next picture, I want to show you that they were ordered by King Josiah to not only cut them down, but to burn the images, because these images were mostly made of wood. Sometimes you would find them made out of other materials, but most of the time they were made out of wood. Now, here are some of the passages I want to read that I happened to listen to. And was reading when I had my vision back in 2004. Now, this is talking about Josiah destroying the idols. 2 Chronicles 34, 6 through 8. In the cities of Manasseh, Ephraim, Simeon, even as far as Naphtali, and their surrounding ruins, he also tore down the altars and beat the Asherah and the carved images into powder, and chopped down all the incense altars throughout the land of Israel. Then he returned to Jerusalem. Now in the 18th year of his reign, when he had purged the land and the house, he sent Shaphan, the son of Azaliah, and Messiah, an official of the city, and Joah, the son of Joahaz, the recorder, to repair the house of the Lord his God. And in 2 Chronicles 31:1, now when all this was finished, all Israel who were present went out to the cities of Judah, broke the pillars in pieces, cut down the Asherah, and pulled down the high places and the altars throughout Judah and Benjamin, as well as Ephraim and Manasseh, until they had destroyed them all. Then all the sons of Israel returned to their own cities, each to his own possession. Now this is what the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Bible, also called the Pentateuch, has to say about these images. Exodus 34:13 says, "But rather you are to tear down the altars and smash their sacred pillars and cut down their Asherah." Leviticus 26:30 says, "I then will destroy your high places and cut down your incense altars and heap your remains on the remains of your idols, for my soul shall abhor you." I want to get back to my vision. After reading these passages in the Bible, this is a pretty good representation of what I saw. I saw, like you saw in the different pictures, this real tall pole on a high hill, and there was a intricate carved head on the pole, and fire was kind of belching out of the top of the pole. And I didn't see any people or anything, but I saw this pole with that looked like a dragon head. It was falling down to the ground. Now I knew in my spirit that it since it was talking about in the scriptures here idols, and God was trying to get the children of Israel to get rid of their idols, I knew he was telling me that I had idols in my life that I need to get rid of. But now, years later, I am seeing that this vision is also pertinent for now, because of all the stuff that I'm seeing going on in this country. This country is full of idols. And I feel like in my spirit the Lord was saying, America is a land of many idols, and that he is going to destroy these idols very soon. Now, I'm sure everybody has probably seen all the crazy stuff that's going on with the NFL. You've got the players who are rebelling against Trump, and it's just a mess going back and forth. And now some of the people are really angry because a lot of the fans, many have been in the service or have relatives that have been in the service, and the whole idea of being disrespectful to the nation and the flag is making people very angry. I mean, people are even taking memorabilia of these different NFL teams and taking them outside and burning them. So that really goes along with what my vision was saying, that God is going to destroy America's idols. We have so many idols, and not just sports. People put these sports people on a pedestal. Most of them, pretty good athletes, but as far as being a person, I don't think most of them are very good people at all. There are exceptions. There are some fine Christian people in sports. However, it's really just a distraction. I mean, it's fine. Sports are great, and it's good to help build character and whatnot for children and young people. But as an adult, there are very few people can make a living playing sports, whatever particular sport it might be. And we put way too much emphasis on entertainment, because that's basically all it is entertainment. That is one of our main idols in this country, is entertainment. People will go to watch sporting events, all kinds of different sporting events. Go to movies, do all kinds of things, theater or whatever. Disney World, that's entertainment. They'll do that instead of going to church, worshiping God like they're supposed to. God tells us that we're supposed to worship Him in spirit and in truth, and we're supposed to do it every week. But guess what? Most Americans do not. They go and worship their idols, their sports idols, their movies, their celebrities. We even had a TV show up until a few years ago called American Idol. People worship these singers. It's just disgusting how people will idolize these people. They have a little bit of a talent. Some of them do. Some of them are mediocre as far as I'm concerned. But they build these people up. They spend millions of dollars getting them looking good and helping them with their voice, putting on videos and whatnot. And people idolize these people. They're just people. They put clothes on. They put one pants leg on at the time like the rest of us do. And they are not gods, even though Beyonce may think she's a god, or Madonna, who actually looks more like Medusa now, the way she dresses and acts. It's got the most filthy mouth I've ever seen. But I would not put these people on a pedestal. Some of them are so disgusting, I can't even imagine going to see their shows. They're so filthy talking. But anyway, this is my point that I'm trying to make, is that God is going to destroy all of these idols that many Americans hold so dear in their life. The different idols are money. People are obsessed with possessions, material things. Their job is their idol and their God. They worship those things. They look down on other people who don't have the same amount of money and position that they have. Do you really think that all those things matter to God? No, they do not. Now money is important. You got to have it to survive in this world. But the love of money is the root of all evil. And people have gotten obsessed with getting this, getting that, getting this title, getting that position. And women are the worst. They want to go after the richest guy, the most good-looking guy. And, those things are not going to matter. Our economy could collapse in any second. And we could be living, or we could have an EMP attack from Russia or North Korea or wherever, and be living back in the 19th century again. And you'll have to go back to the old-fashioned way of doing things. So don't be idolizing all this stuff that's just immaterial. It's temporary. It's transient. This life is very short. And we don't know how much time we have left. Jesus could come back at any time. My question is, are you ready? Have you gotten rid of your gods and your idols out of your life and your heart? Because Jesus said is in the Bible that he is a jealous God. He has a right to be that way. He has a right to insist upon him being worshipped, because nobody else but him created us. And we have no one else to praise. We cannot praise ourselves. We're not promised tomorrow. We're not promised the next breath that we breathe. Without Jesus' power holding things together, there is no tomorrow. There is no life. That's literal. I mean, the scientists today don't even understand how things hold together. The atomic particles. I say the only thing that's holding it together is the will of God. The will of Jesus Christ, who is the Son of God, who created this world. If he wanted to, he could say, let it go, and everything would unravel right before our very eyes. Our very bodies, our entire existence would disappear in a second. We owe him everything. Without him, there is nothing. So why are we running around worshiping celebrities, praising these people who are all satanic? Look at all the crazy stuff these people do. They're showing the devil horns and praising Lucifer, and all of these crazy people in the entertainment industry are showing all these crazy Masonic symbols, and from these secret societies, the Illuminati garbage. They're had the all-seeing eye on clothing everywhere. It's just so obvious. It's in your face. Just look at Lady Gaga. The woman is obsessed with demonology. And she's always covering up her eye, because she's not the only one, but she's the main one I've seen recently. That all-seeing eye is Lucifer's eye. It's on our dollar bill, for goodness sake. If you can't see that, you're blind. But my point is, all of us need to get right with God. Get ready, because America's time is very short. I truly believe America is the great Babylon the Bible talks about in the book of Jeremiah, the book of Isaiah, the book of Revelation, and several other different places. I think Zechariah also mentions different things too. But if you look up any of these Bible verses that talk about Babylon, Mystery Babylon, not ancient Babylon, there's a difference. America, in Britain, Israel, and the Vatican, all of them are interconnected into this new world order system. And God is going to judge this system very soon. These idols that people take for granted and they worship are going to fall very soon. We're already beginning to see that. With the NFL falling apart, politicians are falling. Some of them are being indicted on pedophile charges. I've even seen that the Pope was up on charges, but he's too powerful and has too much money that nothing's going to happen from that. The Queen of England, She's gotten in trouble. The last pope had to resign because of pedophile charges. So these people are going to fall. There are many other people in this country, a lot of politicians, a lot of people in the entertainment industry, Hollywood people, all of these people that are pushing all this ungodly, despicable garbage on young people especially. God is going to destroy them. And you better get your heart right with God, because we have very little time left. I don't set dates because I don't know when Jesus is coming back. You know, it could be this year, it could be next year, it could be 10 years from now. But all I've got to say is that Judgment Day is coming, and it's not going to be very pretty. We are beginning to see some judgment on this nation because of the wicked things that are going on here. Now, all of this is not being done by God. I personally believe that there are wicked elements in our government, or we call the deep state, whatever you want to call it, that are causing all these storms. But I think it's God's will that He's trying to wake people up and make them realize, hey, you need to get right with God, and you need to stop worshiping this world system and stop worshiping the celebrities. And get your heart right with God, because time is short. Jesus is coming back, and you better be ready. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I don't usually post like visions and stuff. I don't really have them that often, but I really thought this was important. It really kind of struck me after seeing all the different incidents that are going on with the NFL and how people are so angry, that I think this is the beginning of the fall of not just America, but of the world system. That very soon the idols are coming down. That God is going to give you a choice. You're going to either worship Him, or you're going to worship your idols, or yourself, or Lucifer. There's only two powers in the world. There's either all the powers of Satan and all his minions, or there's power of God. You can either worship God or Satan. That's all you have. Or if you worship yourself, which there are some people that actually do that. If you worship yourself, you're on the devil's side. Okay, well, thank you, and hope you have a wonderful evening. God bless you.